Welcome to my review of Star Wars The Last Jedi. This is Nathan, and I'm going to give you my honest opinion of the film, what I liked, what I disliked, and my overall opinion. So if you haven't seen the film, there are spoilers ahead, so don't watch it. You should have seen it by now, so hopefully you enjoy what I have to say. So before I dive into all the little bits about the film, what I liked and what I disliked, I will admit I really enjoyed the film. I think it was a roller coaster the first time I watched it, constantly looking around me in disbelief as to what was happening, when Snoke died and McCullough assumed control, and just pretty much everything that happened. It was so different from what everyone wanted and what everyone expected to happen that I personally believe it was a really good film, and I do understand why people criticize it, and I understand why you yourself may not like it, but personally, I loved the film, and I'll be discussing both sides of what I liked about the film and what I disliked about the film. Because, of course, like every film, there's stuff that I dislike and stuff that everybody dislikes, and things in general, especially in this film, there is some very stupid things that happen and things that are hyped and then don't live up to their potential, but at the same time, there are things that are so much better than I could possibly have imagined. I'm going to start things off with things that I dislike about the film. You're probably going to agree with all of them, if not most of them, and I do love the film, so I'm going to kind of play devil's advocate, talk about how that these things can make people dislike the film and why I understand, but I'm also going to talk about the things that I liked afterwards. So I'm going to jump right in with the biggest reason why I dislike the film, and that has to be, without a shadow of a doubt, the Leia flying scene. Now, I've seen the film twice. The first time, obviously, I didn't expect to see it, and so when I saw it, it was a big surprise. I'm thinking, you know what, maybe there's a tractor beam pulling her towards the ship. It's like, fair enough, that makes sense. When that didn't end up being the case, and the door opened, to which the air didn't decompress and everyone remained alive, which is another problem, but we're not going to delve into that. Um, when I did realize that it was the force that she was using, I couldn't believe it. It was just seemed so ridiculous. The fact that the cockpit would blow up, she somehow remains fully intact, floating into space, where you'd presume she was dead, which would be an excellent way to write her off as a character, seeing as rest in peace, Carrie has passed away. But no, her fingers start moving. Somehow the effects of zero air and the freezing temperature didn't kill her, and she started floating like Superman towards the ship. Now, I thought that that was ridiculous. No Jedi has ever really shown any ability like that, and the fact that she doesn't really possess any real abilities apart from being able to sort of sense what Luke's doing and can kind of communicate with Luke. Other than that, in the films, it's never really been shown that she can able to do that, or anything even similar, and so I can fully understand why people dislike this scene. When I watched the film the second time, I honestly could not bring myself to watch it. I was with my friend, and we were both staring at each other with our eyes closed, hands over our eyes, cringing because honestly, this scene is a terrible scene, and if there was one thing I can remove from this film, it would be this one. And so on to a second reason why I did not like the film. Now, there were characters such as Snoke and Phasma, who we didn't have a clue where they came from. It was interesting that we would find out who they were, see them develop as real big villains, something that the heroes would have to fight against, hyping them up so much in the lead up to the film to watch them die. Now, the characters being wasted was certainly something that annoys me. I really want to know who Snoke is, and I'm sure we'll eventually find out, hopefully in the films, because I don't really want to have to find out, through books and stuff, or to watch on YouTube and someone to say that in this comic or this random book that no one's ever read, this is who he is. It doesn't seem like the sort of thing that everyone wants to find out. He seems such a powerful, mythical sort of guy. You see him lightning Kylo Ren, and you see him toy around with Rey. He just seemed such a cool character, and to die off like that, it's a good thing, and I'll talk about that later on, but it's also a bad thing because we don't get to see who he is. At least not immediately, and it might be a while till we find out, and that obviously is quite annoying. And another wasted character, I think this one was wasted a lot more than Snoke was, which is Phasma. Now, they hyped Finn versus Phasma so much, obviously in Star Wars Battlefront 2, but also just in general. Um, and I think that was definitely wasted. Like, she didn't actually achieve anything in the films. You know, in the Force Awakens, she's literally just shown to uh, take down the shields, and in this one, she has a little fight with Finn and Rose, but ultimately ends up dying, or so we think. If she doesn't die, it's kind of going to be a bit silly because she does seem like she'd die. But yeah, I think wasted characters is certainly another problem with this film, and I can see why people are so annoyed about it. I certainly am. I mean, I thought Phasma was like a good character. She certainly had room to improve. Like, she hadn't actually achieved anything, and obviously I want to know who Snoke is, as does everyone. So of course that is frustrating. The last major reason why I disliked Star Wars The Last Jedi was everything that Rose brought to the film. Now, I very much disliked the relationship that her and Finn developed, and I also definitely disliked the casino scene. But we will start with the relationship. Obviously, Finn and Rey had a very good connection, providing support to each other and letting each other know that they aren't the only ones in the galaxy anymore. And then Finn goes and finds Rose in the middle of nowhere in the pipes, and so begins a relationship that made everyone, including myself, cringe because it's so unnecessary, and her as a character, just in general, seemed very frustrating. Now, obviously, at the end there, when Rey is looking at Finn, who is looking after Rose, you kind of feel that she's a little upset, obviously looking forward to seeing Finn so much. And every Star Wars fan I can vouch for, in my opinion, would think that they would get together at some point based on what happened in the seventh one. But no, the new director had to obviously throw in a random cast member that would throw everything into disrepair, and I certainly did not like that aspect. And of course, we also have the casino scene, which was very, very unnecessary for the film. Now, obviously, it's a huge change of pace, something that I'm not unwelcome to. You know, I do like a change of pace here and there, but it just seemed unnecessary. It completely pulled away from the main storyline, obviously talking about slavery and stuff that's not right in the galaxy, talking about how all these people made their money and saving weird horse things and prioritizing that to finding a code breaker who would help their other friends. And I thought that was extremely unnecessary, and obviously the fact that they were flirting the entire way certainly pissed me off on both viewings of the film, because obviously I'm more a Rey Finn sort of guy. I would even prefer um, Rey and Kylo to Rose and Finn. Now, of course, there were also some little things in the film, a lot more subtle, that you may have disliked. If so, please leave a comment in the description telling me what. There was one that I can think of that seemed a bit ridiculous, but obviously has or can have some sort of explanation, and that was the fact that Luke was using a blue lightsaber in his duel with Kylo Ren. I sort of just thought of it as being a bit ridiculous, seeing as Kylo should have had the knowledge that Rey and him had already destroyed the blue lightsaber, and the fact that he's known for using green. But of course, that's just a nitpick thing. There's plenty more, like the fact that the bombers in the beginning dropped their bombs despite being in space with no gravity, dropped the bombs directly down, destroying the dreadnought. But of course, nitpick things, and you might dislike some things in there that I haven't mentioned as well, so please leave a comment telling me what they are. And now is the time for the things that I liked about the film. Now, this is going to be a lot shorter than the things I didn't like about the film, just because I sort of had to explain what I didn't like about them. And sometimes it's really hard to explain what you liked about a film, but you know you just did, if that makes sense. So I hope you enjoy my reasons for why I liked the film, and hopefully you agree with what I have to say. If you have other reasons as to why you like the film, please leave a comment in the description as well. I'd love to hear what you have to say and why you also love the film. To begin what I liked about the film, I'm going to say everything. And I don't mean all the little things that happen in the film, I mean the editing and the overall portrayal of the emotions that the director wanted you to feel. I think the film was very well made, how you didn't expect any of the things to happen. So we'd go into it, all these fan theories and everything that we thought was going to happen, and it just didn't. I think the way that they made the film, the way the director looked at what he wanted to happen, and the way that he made that happen through editing, through music, through what he decided to happen, was done really, really well. And I can honestly say that the first time I watched the film, I was with my girlfriend who doesn't really follow Star Wars anywhere near as much as I do. But every 5 minutes, I would be looking around the room in utter disbelief. Like, honestly, what is going on? I honestly did not think that this would be happening. Snoke's dying? What the hell? Where did that come from? It's such edge of the seat experience, and anyone who says that they didn't feel that, even if they didn't like the film, you have to have felt that energy that was going on. You knew what was going to happen, and then it completely changed. You thought, Rey's in a bit of trouble. Snoke dies. What? Where does that come from? That sort of experience is very hard to come by, and I certainly didn't feel that with The Force Awakens, and I didn't feel that with some of the prequels that I did see in cinemas as well. This film was hyped so highly, and I did have high expectations for it, but my high expectations were completely different from what actually happened. And yes, I do think the film started a bit slow, and the first 15-20 minutes I was like, the film's okay, but as long as they keep up like this, I'm not going to like it. And then it completely changed. And honestly, if you don't think that the way the film was made was good, then I think you need to go back and rewatch the film and consider how they're trying to make you feel, even if the story isn't as good as what you expected or it doesn't feel Star Wars. Just the way that the film was made in itself is what makes this film excellent. The second reason that I love the film is the Kylo Ren and Rey working together to kill the Praetorian Guard scene. So with Snoke dead, his red guards decided to unleash their fury upon Rey and Kylo, and they decided to work together and defeat them, however many there were. Now yes, they did seem a bit weak, but the fact that the two protagonists, two people who shouldn't have been working together, two people that seemed to be enemies, working together for a common goal, just made that one of the coolest scenes that Star Wars has done for a while, certainly much better than anything they've done in Force Awakens, and you just wanted them to want to work together at the end of it all. Of course, they never were going to, because it would make things too simple and it would make the film too easy, but the fact that they worked together and they both helped each other out to defeat all the guards made that such a good scene, and certainly something that you couldn't have hated from the film. Another big reason that I liked the film was the fact that Snoke dies. Yes, that goes against everything that I said before, but it's not because I don't know who he is, because that still frustrates me and the entire community, but it's the fact that someone so powerful was able to be undone by his overconfidence and his zealous personality, and the fact that Kylo Ren was able to achieve, and will go on to achieve, his potential, not as Darth Vader, because we don't want to see a remake of 4, 5, and 6, but as someone who is able to control the armies and move the First Order forward in his image. I think that when I saw the scene, I was in disbelief, obviously had no idea that that was going to happen. The hype behind Snoke and all of his power always played in everyone's mind, and the fact that the director had the audacity to kill off Snoke, I think, was a very bold move, and I personally really enjoyed that. Despite the fact that, yes, I want to know who Snoke is and where he came from, and that frustrates me every day, but I am very happy with the fact that he died, and I did very much enjoy the scene, and obviously the scene that came after that. Of course, there are many other reasons why I like the film, but I'm going to make this the last one. And if there are anything that I've missed, please leave a comment in the comment section. But Hux being destroyed, essentially, by Kylo, I thought was very funny and just fitting that Hux thought he was some all-powerful being that could not only, control the armies, but stand up to Kylo when Kylo choked him, and all the humour revolving around the ship with Kylo and Hux sort of bickering. I thought that was a very funny touch, and the fact that Kylo could, with ease, just dominate Hux, choke him, throw him into the wall, and control him. I thought that was very nice, seeing as Hux, both in the seventh and the eighth film, has sort of seemed like he has more power than he actually does. He's trying to portray that he is maybe even a successor to Snoke, but everybody knew that that would never have happened. And, I did like that about the film, the fact that Kylo was so dominating compared to Hux, someone who is a character with no special abilities and someone who is literally just there to control the armies. So, there are many other reasons why I like the film, but for the sake of the length of the video, and for the sake that they're all, little reasons, just like this one, little things that I like about the film, but it's so hard to say and hard to explain, obviously, without making this video hours long. But if you did enjoy the video, please leave it a like. If you have a comment, please leave it in the description. If you agree with my opinion, let me know. If you don't, please leave a comment. I can't wait to read what you guys have to say and reply and maybe even start a conversation. But yes, thank you very much for watching. If you did enjoy the video, please subscribe, and I look forward to speaking to you guys soon.